practical tests that have been developed for assessing accessibility on the web and beyond. Alain, please take it away.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me today. You see my screen? So, yeah.
Yep.
I just wanted also, to say that I'm really excited to show you what we have done during the last 5 years. I will copy in the chat a link. This link, you can find the slides. Oh, it's not working. Technical issue, as usual. Let me just try again. So you have a link here with, okay, so I will try last time. This link gives you access to the slides and to the transcript. So if you need the transcript, oh, cool, my notes. This is not what I wanted to do, but I try for the last time to copy paste this link. Okay, so you have in the chat a link towards our slides, and you can always get a transcript if you need it.
Thank you. The link works. I shared the.
It works? Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. So now I have trouble with my computer. This is always why. It would be better if I could go to the next slide. We tested everything just before, so it was going well. Okay, I can start. Yeah, that's it. Perfect. So let's start just with a short story to give you a little bit of context. So once upon a time, in a small landlocked country between Germany, Belgium, and France, the Web Accessibility Directive had come into force. And someone had to do something about it. And it was us. We have a small team called Accessibility Luxembourg. If you don't know where the country is, it's on the map here. And it's Accessibility Luxembourg. It's a project in charge of the accessibility monitoring in the frame of the Web Accessibility Directive. It means that this is for the public sector websites and applications. When we started in 2020, we had lots of questions. Among those questions, we have those 4. How can we test websites and mobile applications in practice? So in particular for mobile applications, because this was brand new for us. Can we only test the WCAG criteria because we heard of the European standard, but lots of experts told us it was the same as WCAG, of course. How to guarantee the comparability of audits, because as a monitoring agency, then we will need to detect trends, to compare results, etc. So we need to have some basis that is comparable. And how to help the newcomers discover the field. And there were really few companies in the accessibility field in Luxembourg when we started, and we had to find a way to help increase the market maturity because, for example, the administrations will contact, or the ministries will contact those companies and try to get contracts. So if they are not trained, then you have an issue. So moreover, the maturity of our own administrations was also quite viable. So we thought that we needed some common method and also to have some documented testing practice that anyone could use. And just opening one small parenthesis here. So I have put some pictures of Luxembourg in the slide. So these are purely decorative. I won't describe them, but I just wanted to show this beautiful country if you don't know it yet, and far away from the cliches about banks and stuff. And this is, for example, the big bridge in the city center in Luxembourg City. Yeah, so, but developing a method and describing our testing practices can take time. So we checked what our neighbors were doing. For example, in Germany, there is BitFAO, and in France, there is RGAA. So RGAA, it stands for General Framework for Accessibility Improvement. This is a bundle of a method and also testing practices, and that's what we call an accessibility framework. We have chosen RGAA in 2020 because it was battle tested, it was open source, we could reuse it, and it was also in French, which is one of the 3 national languages of Luxembourg among German and Luxembourgish. RGAA is developed by our colleagues from DINUM in France since 2015, and they are really active around this. So what is it, this RGAA? So it is based on a method to structure your audits and a set of operational tests to access the accessibility of websites. RGAA, it proposed to sort through all the WCAG techniques. There are 1,000 of them or more, and it gives for all the criteria an operational test, which does not require to read all the techniques. And these tests are also based on the state of the art, and the compatibility with the assistive technologies has already been checked and validated. So RGAA is of course based on WCAG, and it covers the scope of WCAG 2.1 for now. I know they have a project of a new version, and they will also cover WCAG 2.2. And this is also based on WCAG EM, the testing methodology developed by W3C on top of WCAG to organize your audits. And we use RGAA. We used it to assess the accessibility of websites in Luxembourg between 2020 and 2024, and it went really well. And we had good feedbacks from the community. So people like using it. But after the 2 first years of monitoring, we had got some feedback from the EU, telling us that testing WCAG criteria was not enough, in fact, and we should consider testing the whole European standard EN 301-549. So we came back to the European standard and to study it, and this is what we learned. When assessing websites with the European standard, 1/3 of the applicable criteria are from WCAG here. But you have also another third about non-web documents, and this is WCAG to ICT. WCAG to ICT is the application to WCAG to something else that is non-web. And it is also 1/3, and you have the last third. These are native criteria to the European standard. So they have nothing to do with WCAG. This is something completely new. Yeah, that was it. And if you check for mobile application, it is even worse that there are no applicable WCAG criteria, and the native EN 301-549 criteria represent 45% of all the criteria to be tested. So in fact, we did miss a big chunk of it. Also, on top of it, we had to find a way to assess mobile applications and PDFs that are not covered by RGAA, and we did it also an English version for all our content because indeed in Luxembourg we are multilingual, so we went for English because this is not an official language of Luxembourg, but it is heavily used in the professional context. So this is why we decided to define our own accessibility assessment frameworks. And we have defined 3 of them. One for websites, we called it RA Web, one for mobile applications, RAAM, and one for PDF documents, RA PDF. You have the links here, so if you downloaded with my link in the beginning, the slides, you can always click everywhere and get more information. Just to give you a little bit more context about this, for whom did we produce this? for the accessibility specialist, of course. It's oriented towards testing, but it's also useful for developers and UX designers. This is a friendly fork of RGAA. It means that every time we change something, we improve something, we will send them pull requests. And every time they do an update, we try to import everything also on our side. So we try to synchronize, let's say. We cover 100% of the European standard. It's available in English and in French. It's open source, and contributions are welcome. More on this later on. And also, it's not mandatory. What do I mean by not mandatory? It means that what is really important is the European standard, and you can test how you want. But if you need this assessment framework, then you can use it. Just a short demo. I wanted to show you how it's done on the website. So if I manage to switch properly now, yes. So this is a website of Digital Accessibility Luxembourg. You have here some links toward the frameworks. So one for the web, one for mobile, and one for PDFs. And when you go inside those frameworks, you have, for example, all the criteria and tests. So here you can scroll. It's done with disclosure components, and you can always dig deeper into one special topic and find how to test this. Yeah, you have always also links towards the glossary. So we have a glossary for everything. So you can check there, you can come back. You have the possibility to search inside all of this. So if you want, for example, to check, I don't know, something that blink, I don't know, do we have something about, yeah. Sudden changes of brightness or blinking, you can just search with your browser and the disclosure will get opened. What can I say? You have the WCAG level here. You have always also a mapping with the links toward WCAG, the techniques, and the European standard. And what is interesting maybe is that the European standard, as you know, is a PDF. If you click on it, you will go to the right page. So it is not perfect, but at least you are on the right page to find the info you want. So this was a little bit very, very short demo. I will show you other extra info here. Just to clarify a little bit the main structure of RA Web, all the criteria are grouped into themes. And here you see 17 themes. These themes are really pragmatic and a little bit less abstract than the 4 WCAG principle and all the chapters in the European standard. This is not a critique, but it's just to say when you discuss with developers or content producers and you are speaking about images, then you will have all the tests about images, all the issues about images grouped together. When you speak about colors, about tables, links, scripts, etc., it's the same. So these are technical themes. Those themes group criteria, and then we have different levels with test and the test method. We provide also notes and special cases. So this is the same as in WCAG. You have some exceptions, or maybe also in the law, in the Web Accessibility Directive or in the European Accessibility Act. And you have also always the mapping, as I have shown in the short demo. Yes. Then I wanted to show you also the different level of details by comparing one criterion coming from the European standard. This is a non-WCAG one, and also what we have in RA Web to show, in fact, that if you don't know how to test one of these criteria, then you can come to us and you will have a detailed method to test. So this example is C.7.1.5 about spoken subtitles. So this is, yeah, as I said, non-WCAG criteria. please don't read the text. This is just to give you an idea about the density of information. And the main idea of this criterion is that if you have a video with subtitles, so translation subtitles, not closed captions for the deaf and hard of hearing, then you need to have a way to get a spoken output. So if you check this description, it's quite short. You don't have many details here. But if you are new to it, you don't really know how to test this. So what we did, this is the corresponding criterion in RA Web. It's 4.18. You have the text of the criterion here. For each pre-recorded synchronized time-based media that has subtitles, can this be vocalized, etc. Then you can open the tests, the notes, and the mapping. If we open the test, we have a little bit more details. And if we open the test methodology, then you have a step-by-step method. First do this, then do that, and finally you should have this result. And if it's not the case, then this is not compliant. We have approximately 2 pages of text, which help you test this. And yeah, if you already know how to test, then you don't need to read it. Yeah, so this is a little bit the difference. About the other non-WCAG criteria, there are lots of them. As I said, it's 1/3 of all the criteria in the European standard for websites. I just wanted to give you some examples because I don't know if they are so well known. Maybe in the Netherlands it's more well known, but it's not everywhere so well known. And I just wanted to show also examples that say that it's also directly applicable to websites. The first one is about video players. So if you have on a video player buttons to activate closed captions and the audio description, they should be at the same level of interaction as the main ones. So like play, pause. What does it mean? It means that you cannot hide the buttons to activate closed caption and audio description behind a submenu, in a submenu. They need to be at the same level. The second one is about the editing tools. So if you have on your website, for example, a comment section with a rich text editor, and people can go to your website and type a comment, then this rich text editor should allow to create accessible content. And the third one, it's about biometrics. So if you have on your website a login page or a signing feature where you use biometrics, then you should also propose an alternative, either one that is not based on biological characteristic on a sufficiently different one. For example, if you have a login page which scan your face, then you should probably rely on an alternative. You should probably also propose an alternative which is not based on biometrics, for example, a digital certificate, or by scanning the fingerprint, for example. There are, of course, many more non-WCAG criteria in the European standard, and I encourage you to go have a look at them. And here you have everywhere the link towards our criteria and about our testing methodologies. Yeah, another, if we come back to RA Web, there is something else that is maybe interesting, is that we have a predefined test environment. So it means every time we test a website, we can discuss with the owner of the website if they think they have a special type of public which with I don't know, special assistive technologies or such. Or for example, if you have if you are working on a project for an intranet, then you know that you control maybe the software, the screen readers and the web browsers. But if you are in the general case, then you have this predefined test environment. And here we ask to test those 5 configurations with NVDA, JAWS, VoiceOver, and also on mobiles on the 2 platforms. So this gives you, in fact, an idea and helps also to guarantee the comparability, because we always test with those configurations. We also provide a predefined pages sample. So when you start an audit, you always have to define the page sample. This is also an important step in WCAG-EM. So here you have a predefined set of pages that you must include in your sample if they exist. So for example, the home page, legal information, login, contact page, etc. There are, of course, more details. I don't have enough space here, so you can always click on this link and check what do we propose for the sample. There are, of course, for example, the processes, the complete processes. And we add, like in WCAG-EM, an extra 10% of random pages. The idea behind is to be able to build such sample faster and also to have similar samples between audits. So to show, for example, an improvement between audits. We also provide an auditing kit. This is perhaps, the term is probably not so good, but the idea behind, we are speaking here of Word and Excel templates that can be reused to create your reports. So what is interesting, for example, in the Excel template is that once everything has been filled in, you get a compliance score. So if you are at 100%, it means you are fully compliant. If you are less than 100%, that it means you still need to improve some stuff. And here you have some kind of dashboard by pages and also by theme, the 17 themes, or by compliance level, A and AA, etc. This can help, in fact, setting priorities for the remediations. And of course, Excel is not the best technology, and we can probably do something else and develop some web-based tools. But the barrier to entry of a spreadsheet is close to zero. So everyone can start with this if they need it and switch to better tools later on. Just as I mentioned, all our audits have an accessibility score, and we use this score to publish every year a ranking of the most accessible websites and apps that were part of the monitoring. And from our experience, this helps in motivating the teams to improve the accessibility of their websites and applications. This is also a tool that we heavily use in our communication and all our analysis. Maybe just a word also about our two other frameworks, one for the mobile applications and the second one for PDFs. So RAAM, we started in 2021 with it. It's the same method as in RAWeb, so we have the same structure, same way to build a sample of screens, etc. We cover 100% of the European standard. And what is interesting in this one is that we have defined mobile-specific tests for iOS and Android. So every time you have a test, then you will have one section, test for iOS, test for Android, where we go step by step, how do we do this and this, etc. We also provide an information about the tools and device configuration. So it means that we help you configure your screen reader on your devices. We help you configure, I don't know, your Bluetooth keyboard and this kind of stuff. About the test, when I say mobile specific, it's also that there is a difference. When we assess websites, we mainly do it by inspecting the code. But as you know, there is no inspect or view source for mobile application. So here we heavily rely on screen reader tests and tests with a keyboard. This is one example of a criterion about the possibility to increase the font size. So if you, when you want to test this on a mobile application, how you do this? It seems easy, but there are some issues. So here you have the criterion, how to do this, and then you have the assessment methodology. I just did a screenshot for iOS. So don't read the text here. It will be probably too much, but yeah, as always, we have a step where we go to the settings, we configure a larger text size, then we go to the application and we check, maybe we restart the application and we check that this is effective. Yeah. For the PDFs, we did a study in 2023 where we evaluated the most visited websites in Luxembourg from the public sector, and we checked all the non-web documents. And among those non-web documents, 95% were PDFs. And among those PDFs, 6 out of 10 were totally inaccessible. It means there were scanned documents that were untagged documents, and they were not accessible. So we needed to do something, and we thought, okay, maybe the European standard is too difficult to use to assess PDF, so we have to write our own framework. So we have another one for PDFs. For example, here there is a test about images. So this is a simple one. Images conveying information should have a text alternative. So how do you test this? And we decided to write some tests based on PAC, PDF Accessibility Checker 2024. And this is a free tool that everyone can download and use. You don't need to pay a big, heavy license to be able to evaluate the accessibility of a PDF file. We are open source and open data. Everything we do is open source under the Creative Commons attribution license. The content are available as Markdown files and JSON files. JSON is maybe easier if you want to integrate into third-party tools. It's possible to contribute via our GitHub projects. So you have them here. I don't know if you can go. So we have this stuff. You can check all the files. We have documentation. Everything is there. And all our audits are published as open data. So same, you can go on the open data portal. Then we published everything. So you can go there and download also all the reports that we have done. Why is this interesting? It is also interesting. It's interesting for the transparency, public money, public code, or public information. But it's also interesting for all the people learning in the field. They can just go and see how we do it. Some next updates are planned, one minor this year and one major next year. So for the minor, we are currently integrating all the open issues we have on GitHub, and we will also include the exceptions from the EAA, because for now we just have some text about the one from the Web Accessibility Directive. And next year, what we have planned to do is to, when the new version of the European standard has been published officially, the version 4.1.1, which will include WCAG 2.2, then we will update all our tests according to this. To wrap up, all these frameworks are freely available. If you find the approach interesting, then feel free to use them. We have found them to help us increase the comparability of audits, always the same tests, the audits are built in the same way, etc. Those tests limit the interpretation margin and also the conflicts between the experts. This is some kind of consensus. They also help newcomers in the field, and they improve the maturity of the market, at least in Luxembourg, which may be a special market also. In particular, this helps for all the non-WCAG criteria because for now, if you go on the internet, you won't find so much content about those non-WCAG criteria. We do regular updates at least once a year, and the next updates are already planned. And yeah, all the contributions are welcome. So thank you. You can find here all the contact information. You can contact us via email, Mastodon, Blue Sky, and LinkedIn. And yeah, we are happy to discuss this subject with you. Thank you.
Len, thank you so much for this presentation. This is super helpful, super inspiring. I think we can take a lot of practical tips from this. If there are any questions for Alain, please put them in the chat. But before that, I have some questions myself. For example, have you done such an audit yourself, and how much time does it typically take? Because I'm asking this because I opened a spreadsheet and I noticed if you have a sample of 20 pages and you do all the tests, I think it's 2,740 checkboxes you need to check. Or how does it look like in practice?
I would say if you do a complete audit, it's like between 2-3 days and maybe 6 days. We have also a mode that is a simplified audit, where we check only 50 criteria on 3 pages. I didn't show this one, but I can show it now. So if you go to our website, no, it is not. In English. Then you have here all the criteria, the normal criteria, the full audit, or you can go to the criteria for the simplified control, and then you have only 53, I think, criteria to test. And yeah, about the Excel sheet, etc., you can find them here, auditing kit, and you have this Word, Excel, etc. And there is not the one about the simplified is not there. I will add it, but yeah, this is the idea. And for simplified, we do it on 3 pages with 50 criteria in half a day, I would say.
Very nice. Also super practical. Now that you're sharing your screen, you showed a link or the glossary. And one thing I really loved, and maybe you can show to the people, is the link context and the link whose nature is not obvious. Because you mentioned that it's open source. And one thing I can imagine is super nice to work together on is all these things that are kind of not comparable between audits because it's not defined in WCAG, such as the link context. And what does link whose nature is not obvious, what does it actually mean? So maybe this is something people who can also take away for audits in other places than Luxembourg. And something to work together on. I also have this question about WCAG EM. You mentioned RGAA is based on WCAG EM, but I can imagine this is not necessarily a subset or a superset of WCAG EM. There might be some differences. But how do you think about that?
Yeah, of course. So as I mentioned, so in WCAG EM, you have, for example, to define on which website you are working, etc., to give some information, and you have some kind of traceability. So in RGAA, I think it's the same as on our side. You have in this auditing kits, in the grid, in the report, etc., you can fill in some information about the website, about the sample, etc. The method, how do you create the sample? This is what I tried to show in the presentation. You can go here to the testing methodology, and here you are the story about these predefined pages. This is not something that is in WCAG EM. So in WCAG EM, you need to start from scratch and define your sample yourself. So this is the stuff where RGAA and also our frameworks are trying to go a step further and help you do this. I am not so fit with WCAG-EM, so I can not say if this is good or not, or if people from WCAG-EM say, okay, this is dumb, we should not do it like this. I am curious of your feedback. So if you say, no, this is completely not the way to go, then we should probably update this. But for me, from my experience, this is really interesting because it helps onboarding people and going a little bit faster to build this sample and to shorten a little bit the ping pong between the product owner or the website owner and the auditor, the experts. We have the same. I wanted to show, for example, for on mobile. So on mobile, we have the same for the screens. Which screen do you need to test, etc. And also in WCAG-EM, you need to define your testing environment. And this is where the fact that providing a default one, as I said, these 5 configurations of combinations of assistive technologies on web browsers can be helpful. Yeah, we defined this based on the information coming from I think how it's called WebAIM, the WebAIM study about screen readers, etc., to say which are the screen readers that are really the most important that we should support. And yeah, so this is, for example, an update compared to RGAA because I think they still mention Internet Explorer, and we do not anymore. So if you go here, testing environment, you don't have, you can test with Edge if you want, with NVDA, and then you can test with Firefox, with JAWS, etc.
Yeah, thanks. So I guess for the people who do audits in the Netherlands, the takeaway might be, especially for WCAG-EM audits, the tests are super reusable, but you might need to pay special attention to like the making a representative sample and all those parts of WCAG-EM that are required typically in the Netherlands.
Yes.
I have a question. How do you audit after corrections? Because after you have made an audit, people start working on fixing all those things. Do you typically then recheck the whole website, or just recheck that small issue that was fixed?
So what we usually do, and this is not written anywhere, it's we recheck only the issues that were mentioned in the audit, and yeah, this is what we do. For now, it seems to be okay, but yeah, it depends. So. You have the possibility to do an audit and then to do what we call a reset. So it means we are just checking the issues that have been fixed or not. But as a monitoring agency, we don't do this. We always do a full audit. So it means from 1 year to another, we do a complete audit. We recheck everything. But we don't guarantee that if one website has been tested 1 year, it will be tested the next year. It can be after a few years, for example.
Yeah, so there's no set frequency for doing audits.
No, because we have approximately 1,000 websites and applications in Luxembourg. It's very few compared to the Netherlands, I suppose. But we have also one small sample to do every year. We do approximately 100 audits per year. So it means if you do 100 audits per year, then you need 10 years to check everything.
Yeah.
And there are also overlaps, so yeah.
That makes sense. So one last question. You gave the tip about how to use software to test accessibility for PDFs. Do you also have tips and tricks like tools that you can use for auditing web?
Yes.
Any automation tools?
Yeah. If you go to the testing methodology, you have here a section about tools. And here we propose, well, these are well-known tools, so like Web Developer Toolbar, WCAG Contract Checker, Extension, Color Contrast Analyzer, Headings Map Pack, Ace by Daisy, and Pete. These are the tools that we recommend. We have here some explanations how to use them. And from time to time, you have also in the testing method some tricks about these tools, some information about these tools. For the mobile applications, it's the same. Testing methodology, you have evaluation tools. And here, as I said, we explain how to configure your screen reader. You have some documentation on iOS, Android. Same for the external keyboard. How to test automatically on iOS with the accessibility inspector and the accessibility scanner on Android, and how to do, for example, screenshots, how to broadcast the screen to measure, for example, the contrast or this kind of stuff. Yes, this is what we do about the tools.
Well, everything you need to do your first audit. So I hope everyone in the audience is inspired to do their first audit if they haven't already. These are very practical steps. Alain, thank you so much for your presentation. I think we've answered all the questions even. This was our last presentation in English for the Design Systems Week. The next sessions will be in Dutch. So if you're joining from speaking a foreign language, please join us next year and stay tuned with the mailing list. Next up today, in 15 minutes, Schiphol Airport Operations is about an enterprise design system. Then at 1 o'clock, there's one digital user experience for the entire government in the Netherlands about how Logius is approaching this and working together with a lot of other organizations. Then Duo Design System. Fun fact, NL Design System once was based on Uno Design System from Duo. So please come and have a look where they are at after 5 years. And then yours truly will do some live coding. I still haven't a clue what I'm going to live code, but rumor has it that it might have to do something with an icon. We'll see. So see you later today and have a great day.